a necessary part of service, and while some sacrifices are unavoidable, my next guest believes others are not, especially when it comes to family. Along with a team of fellow soldiers, she fought and won the most significant family policy changes to the U.S. Army in a generation, which is incredible. Please welcome Major Sam Winkler. So meet everybody.
Nice to see you.
Nice to meet you. So you have personal experience with policies, right?
Yeah, so, you know, I had my kids, so my kids actually turned 8 and 12 this week.
Oh, cute ages.
Yeah. And, you know, when I had my girls, we were expected to be back in fighting shape within 6 months. And that was really hard for me, learning how to be a new mom, right, taking on some really tough new jobs, still being a spouse, all of the above, and then having to get back into shape.
And postpartum is a play a lot of times.
I really struggled with it, and so that was different. You know, we weren't allowed to go to schools when we were pregnant or postpartum, and I struggled with that. But, you know, I'll tell you, a couple of years ago, kind of in the aftermath of the events with George Floyd, the Army allowed me to go on this listening tour around the Army where I just got to talk to soldiers. It was called Your Voice Matters. And I met a lot of parents on this tour where I just realized we had some pretty significant policy gaps when it came to parenting.
Yeah.
So now the Army does have policy that accounts for people, you know, having fertility issues. We didn't account for miscarriages before 20 weeks. So some really, like, heartbreaking things. And so, you know, we've made some of these impacts now and updates to policy, which I'm really excited about.
It's incredible. And just having kids in general, I mean, I have kids, like sometimes your work schedule changes because it has to change because you got to look out for your kids. Does that ever happen with y'all?
Well, I've certainly had to make sacrifices, and there have been times where I've turned down assignments because I really want to prize the time with the family. But I'll never forget when you talk about changes. When I started in this business, it was during a time where women were trying to have it all, and you almost didn't want to acknowledge if you were pregnant because you knew you were going to take time off. And I remember going to Barbara Walters and saying I was pregnant, and I thought she would, you know, maybe be a little disappointed that meant I was going to be taking time off. And she said to me, "That is so great. Make sure you take care and enjoy this time of your life because maybe I should have paid a little more attention to my personal life." And it was so nice to see things start to change a little bit in our business in terms of embracing kids. And now I think we really have made a big pivot in that.
Yeah. So you joined this Facebook group that kind of catapulted all of this, right?
Yeah, so, you know, these listening tours had a really big impact on me, and it just kind of changed, I think, who I was as a person. And so I wanted to do more. I worked at the Pentagon at the time, and I thought I could do more. And so I just kind of started looking for more communities where I could help people. And I stumbled on this Facebook group called the Army Mom Life, which was for women serving in the Army who had babies. And I was like, wow. And I started to see some really sad stuff in there. And so we went on Twitter, because that's where our Army senior leaders were listening, and we just started tweeting at them. And they actually came back and said, well, why don't you give us some solutions? And we were like, okay. And what happened next really shocked me, that they listened. And so they bought us from the group and then some policy writers in the Pentagon, and they said, let's update parental policies. And so within 15 months, we had this 18-page document signed, which is
incredible speed. Yeah. Wow. But you know why? Because there was a real need. Like people had been affected that were making those decisions too, I bet. Because when it's a direct impact, it does change the flow, I feel like. You made a close friend via the Facebook group.
Yeah, I mean, I've made so many. You know, I think anybody in the audience would tell you, serving in the military, one of the best parts, right? You get to just kind of build all these families, right? Like, and so I have this other new family, and one of those people is Sergeant Carrie Vargas, who's had a tough couple of years. Her youngest son was born with some heart issues, and we've never met in person, but we're very close. And yeah, I mean, she's like family to me. So
that's incredible.
Yeah.
I do. You choose your family sometimes too. I think that's a beautiful thing. So, well, Staff Sergeant Vargas is actually here, and she's never met Major Winkler, like she was saying, in person until now. Come on up. Did you spot? That's right. Hi, I'm Kelly. Nice to see you. Come on over. is it 9 years?
Yes, 9 years.
Wow.
It's incredible. I've had some really unique experiences, and so I actually met my husband in the Army. He is a retired infantryman, so he was in the 82nd and, 5 combat tours. And then together we made 3 beautiful children, our youngest being Keanu.
Yeah. Oh my God, that face! Look at the smile.
He actually has some pretty complex medical conditions. When we were pregnant with him, it was found out that he would be born with a condition called hypoplastic left heart syndrome. It was really challenging because we had to have multiple surgeries, and ultimately he had to require a heart transplant.
At that young of an age,
Yeah,
wow.
6 months old, he had his heart transplant. It was pretty extensive medical care in general.
Yeah, I can't imagine. And you've still got 2 other kids and life in general. That's a lot on one plate. So the policy changes really have impacted you.
Really, truly have impacted me. I think first to start out with is that Keanu has a lot of appointments, to say at the least. He has a pretty extensive medical care. So the policy definitely gave me the flexibility to attend those appointments because it was crucial that both my husband and myself were involved in those appointments and making sure that his care was the best. Mm-hmm. It also gave us a little bit of peace of mind for deployments. We didn't have to worry about, especially my husband being an infantryman, being called, to deploy and, leaving us behind or, with his care, and then vice versa with myself. So we had that flexibility of that year of stabilization. It was so crucial to his health care.
Well, because prior to this, we didn't get any. So when you came back from parental leave, you were kind of free game. So you could go, wherever. And so now you get a 1-year stabilization, which I think has really benefited our families.
Yeah. Which benefits your soldiers. It benefits everyone. Yeah. Oh my gosh. So did you have any questions?
I'm curious. It's one thing to have the policy change. It's another thing to have the confidence to actually take the change, because oftentimes people are nervous that they're going to be stigmatized. Are people really taking advantage of it, and are they actually following up on it?
Yeah, that's what's tough, right? There's a bill payer when it comes to culture change. And I do think a lot of our parents are taking advantage of it. One of my favorite things about the policy changes has been that, at least for me, for a long time, it felt like being a parent was a mom's game, right? Like it was for moms. And what I really love is that I think this policy, at least for the Army, has really kind of normalized parenthood. Because it's not just about the mom, it's about parents.
What has your friendship meant?
So I have called Sam on the darkest hours, and I only think she could pull me through it. And truly, I don't know if me and my family would have been okay without you. And I cherish our friendship, and I don't know what we would do without you. And you are my best friend.
Well, the 12 policy changes were signed last year by U.S. Army Secretary Christine Wormuth. She also happens to be the first woman secretary of the Army, which is pretty cool, and she sent us this message.
I want to take the opportunity to thank 2 terrific Army women, Major Sam Winkler and Staff Sergeant Carrie Vargas. Each of you played key roles in helping us comprehensively update the Army's pregnancy, postpartum, and parenthood policies. You and several other Army moms got together, helped us look at what was working, what wasn't working, and thanks to the terrific work you did, we have 400,000 soldiers who are parents who were able to advance their careers in the Army and take care of their families. And you all showed that grassroots voices from the field can really bring change. So happy Veterans Day to the 2 of you, to all of the veterans in our audience, to all of the veterans who are watching from home, and to those who are deployed all around the world. Your service is an inspiration today and every day. Thank you.
For you, Kelly. What? So in the Army, we do something called challenge coins. And everybody knows about challenge coins, right? So we give them to people who have done something great for us. And so since you've helped us kind of tell our story, we, from the Army Mom Life, from everybody, we wanted to give you one of our challenge coins.
This is the coolest coin. Did you see it?
Wow. Love that.
Mama